So this is Baruch, and this is the most beautiful shir that we have in the nighttime here tonight. It's the shir on the Tikunei Zohar. As we said before, we're using the Pirush HaKesef HaKavod, and then the yeshiva, which is the name of the yeshiva itself. And I said that, I really don't know the people at all. This is the family Abu Hatzera. So these are people that are very, very heavy into Kabbalah and for generations, and you could see it in their work. They're carrying a tremendous amount of research with them, a research of tremendous love. So here we are over here. I'm trying to get this down a little bit lower so we can see it more easily. Let's see how this light is going. Maybe I can move the light slightly. Yeah, not so much. Okay, well, what can I do? I'll do the best I can. Here's where we are reading the words of the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He's speaking to the neshamos of tzaddikim that find themselves in the Yisod of Zeir Anpin, and then transferred up to the Yisod of the Malchus of Zeir Anpin. The Malchus, which is called the Nukta Zeir Anpin of Malchus, the Yisod of Malchus. So he said that the maskilim kakochavai, the nishmazim, the maskilim, so the neshamas of the people. And I think he's talking about human beings, so that's what I was thinking about, the people in the chevra that are shining just like because they're a part of all of this, like stars. But rakia, which we said is the word refers to the yesod of malchus. Chachi Naharin Bakarsia, the same way that they shone in Atzilus, that's what he's talking about, that same way they shine in the throne. So we said in other places the throne refers to Olam Abriya. It's outside of Atzilus. It's not so all that much Kadosh, but it has tremendous remnant of Kadosh in it. It is the throne in which the Malchus of Atzilus rests. So let's look at it over here, and we have a little bit, we went through these words. So he says, I'm going to read down, I think we're on number Tesvav. So let me see if I can get it so that we can all see number Tesvav. So it says, just read the black print, Hohi Naharin Bakarsia, that's how they shine into the throne. Right? Then it comes down to another piece of the Rav. So he says, V'kulhu parchim min rekia. And I guess all of them fly from the heaven. Rekia, again, the Yesod, they fly out of the Yesod. V'dad tzadik chayolomim, and the Yesod is, where's it flying out from? It's the concept of the tzadik, which is the Yesod chayolomim, everlasting, and he had some words to say about what that phrase meant, which Yesod, the sort of the malchus of Olam Bria. The minei parchim nishmazim the tzedikaya. From here is where they fly out, the neshamas of tzedikim. V'neharim b'seichram, and they shine on the moon or in the moon. V'alaychu kasiv, and in regards to this, v'yeten osam elokem. This is the God who is mat, the light, in such a way. This is the aspect of God that is the Gevurah aspect. So he said, V'yitan osam elokim. So finally they're placed in the Rekia, Hashemayim, the higher Aretz, in order to be able to shine on the earth. So this is number Tesvav, and specifically the from Yud Dalet over here. We'll read from there. Because also neshamas the bria, so all the neshamas that are found in bria, porchos mehabachina hakuruya rakia, they fly out from that aspect of bria which is called rakia. V'harakia hazeh hu bechinas yisod the zer anpin de bria. So just like there's a zer anpin of Atzilus, there's a zer anpin of bria, and there's a zer anpin of Yetzirah, and a zer anpin of Asiya. All of these spiritual qualities are always present in more or less a lineup, moving away from the ultimate reality, which is Olam Atzilus. So that Yesod of the Zer Anpin of Atzilus of Bria. I'm sorry. Is called Chai Olamim Tzadik Chai Olamim Shuhu Makor Nishma Neshamos Hatzadikim, because this is the place. This is the Makor, the root, the fount from which the Neshamas Hatzadikim come. Let's look over here now at the Makoros Adinim. So these are well researched out to try to give us a flavor of what the Tzadikim who are writing these books, who wrote this. We're talking about Rebbe Shimon, what Shimon had in mind. He said, Ber L'chai Roi says, Al Pi Ber L'chai Roi, Mitzayin the Biuro, and he really points out his explanation, Al Drushas of Tikunim. So later we're going to see that in, apparently later on. Odus and Neshamos, so Yisero, so what happens to the Neshamos, or what's in regards to them, the extra Neshamos shall Shabbos. Shemakorim b'Yisod. Now, I don't know this subject. He says, but I can read the words and translate them and just take them at their simple meaning. So he said, well, let's try it again. B'sayan the bir al drushes atikunim. He says that odos, in regards to the neshamas or yiseros, extra neshamas, shall Shabbos, that is, they're extra neshamas that are predicted. We have a neshama yisera and Shabbos. Shemakor b'Yisod, which has a root in the Yisod. He said that the tzaddik minei parchim nishmasim chadatim, that the tzaddik, that is the Yisod itself, from it fly out nishmasim chadatim, new neshamas. B'Yisrael erev Shabbos, and erev Shabbos we understand the concept of the neshama yisera whom evav risham. So it says over there, it's not talking about those, it's talking about the neshamas of the tzaddikim. But I thought it was a good question. What happens to the neshamas that are created, the extra neshamas on Shabbos? Obviously, it leaves. Let's go on to the other side of number Tesvav. From here, then, they go out, they fly around, the Malchus, to find their way into the Yisod of Malchus Shasham Malchus Mivuram, because this is the place where the sparks, or these neshamas in the condition that they're in, is the place that will be gestated. So let's look at number Tes Zayin. Tes Zayin says, Al Pi Ber L'chai Roi. So it's Pirush. He said, Mitzayin of the Biura, hold on, we're going to see his explanation later. V'shchinta ihi ara debe godlin v'tzamchim ilanin v'asavim. The shchinta, he says, is land, or earth, a field. Debe godlin small, v'tzamchim there grow and sprout, ilanin, trees, v'asavim, and grass. The Allah itmar samach tzadik, and samach tzadik. So he said, in this it said this particular phrase, samach tzadik, the tzadik grew, it sprouted. So what exactly are we supposed to do with these different descriptions? I mean, what's the question here? The question is he says that they go into the Yisod, they fly around, and they go to the Yisod of the Nukva. They're looking for that. What's that have to do with sprouting? As kol mashanasan b'al yisod. That the kavanah is just like a mom, just like a woman. He said that she takes in everything that is deposited in her yisod from the yisod of Zer Anpin. Kol mashanasan b'al yisod, everything that the yisod put into her. She takes it and she shapes it. Metzameches, she causes it to grow. Umagadelis, and shapes it up. Ve'elohim neshamas tzadikim, and these are the neshamas tzadikim, but the midi chacham v'zel l'shono, and those people who are learn Torah lishma. Hainu shehem yotzim in the yisod shel Zer Anpin, and what does this mean? I mean, who are these neshamas? These neshamas are coming from the yisod of Zer Anpin. We're talking about Olam Abriya here now. The nitnim be Yisod of Malchus, and they are placed inside of the Yisod of Malchus. There they grow. There they sprout. And they become big, and they become great trees. That's all a beautiful metaphor, and let's move on. Then he says, and they shine from her Yesod, that is the Yesod, into the Malchus of Bria, Akuya Sehara. Now that's how he pronounces it, Sehara, Yud Zayin. So he said, Bekise Melech, which is a peerage, Medaik Veloshin Sehara. Now I pronounce it Sehara, he says Sehara. Sheneket Khan. So he wants to talk about that. Let's try to look at it more closely. Shekinule Yareach Shuhu Targum Sehara. So you take the word Yareach means moon. The translator of that is the word Sehara. So it's Miyuchel the Malchus the Bria, and that particular word, the moon. Now I don't know this, never heard this before, so I'm hearing it now. He says that the Targum is the word Sehara refers to the Malchus of Bria. Bishum Shebe'olamos Acherim, because in the other worlds, which would be what? Atzilus, let's see if you talk about Atzilus, or it would be Yetzira, Yesiya. So he said the other worlds, the lower worlds, he means Yetzira and Yesiya. He Kuruya Bekinuyim. He was always called that, he that is this Malchus of Bria, is called by the name, other names. So some kind of Sahar, Lavona, something like that. A Makora b'Pri Eitz Chaim, the real root of this idea, you can find in the Eitz of the Pri Eitz Chaim. And he said, "V'sel v'shal the Tiferes and Malchus." Okay, they're the middle line, really. Nikrach Shemesh v'Yareach K'Bria. Those two places, Tiferes, that is the anatomical word Tiferes, which refers to Atzilus, and Malchus, which refers to the Nook of Zeir Anpin. So Tiferes is Zeir Anpin, and Malchus is its Nook. Rikma Shemesh v'Yareach b'Bria. In the world of Bria, they're not called by those names. They're not called Tiferes and Malchus. They're called by Yareach, Shemesh, the sun, and the moon. Chamal Levon b'Yetzira, and then the name changes again when you get to the Olam Yetzira. And this is very interesting to me. I don't know if I can file this away. So in Olam Yetzira, they call Chamal Levona. V'cheres v'sahar v'asiya, and these other words, cheres and sahar and asiya, again. So one means male, female, but they have substitute words. Let me just go over the words again. So he says, what happened? I lost it. So let me go on. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So the next one goes like this. Va'alaychu al neshamas alu. He said, V'yiten osam elokim dahainu shehabina. Bina is often called, actually one of her names is Elokim. Nasna as a neshama, so she places the neshamas. Now, how does that work? He said, basically, the neshamas must be placed in the Zeir Anpin, and through Zeir Anpin they go through his Yesod, into the Yesod of Malchus. That's where I could understand it at this point. So let's look at number Yud Ches. He said, V'chu al derek mashi be'arno, so this really goes across something we've explained. La'el shemakra ha'chug, where is the fount or the root of Chesadim Gevuros? Shehem Hazor Hamispash B'Sfir B'Zer Anpin. So this is actually the radiance that shines out of Zer Anpin. Misase B'Yisodo, and shines in his Yisod. Let's get the words again. So this goes according to what we said before, that the Chesadim and the Gevurah, which really he calls them a Zohar, bright shining, radiance. Mispashid b'spir v'za'anpin, they go through the Chagad Naivs and Nahim of Zeranpin. B'Yisoda, they wind up in his Yisod. Mebina asher muach hadas the Zeranpin, so this really comes from Bina. Here we're particularly talking about the Yisod, I guess, of Bina, that goes into the Das of Zeranpin, Meluvish b'Yisoda, and he says clothed in, that is, these Mochin are clothed in the Yisod, which goes into the Das of Zeranpin. Behind the Shaham Neshamas Shemakorim B'chug, so the Neshamas which have a root in Chesadim Gevuras of the Das of Zeranpin, Nitan to be Yisod Zer Anpin, they ultimately wind up in the Yisod Zer Anpin, Me'es of Bina, and they come from Bina. Now we're really getting close to the end of this. And let's see what we can do and get to number Yud Tes. It's a B'Rekia HaShemayim B'Yisod Zer Anpin de Bria, so in the Yisod the Zer Anpin of Bria, Shekinui of Rekia HaShemayim, the Yisod of Zer Anpin of Yisir is called Rekia HaShemayim. Let's read number Yud Tes at the very bottom of this page. It says Rekia HaShemayim He Kinu the Yisod Zer Anpin. So this concept we're talking about here, the Rekia HaShemayim, it's really another name for the Yisod of Zer Anpin. Hein de Atilut v'Hein de Bria. So apparently it's the same name in both places. Now he's talking about, it's funny. What was getting me back before, we was talking about the different kinds of names that the sun and the moon are called, is that you see these names in different places. Now, I don't know if it's a Kavanah, I don't know where I saw it. Then I have to start thinking about the possibility of what Sira means versus Levana or Ureach or etc. So exactly where it is or where you see that is actually the Kavanah, the person that wrote one word or the other, say Rashi or something like that, to this idea, to the idea we're seeing in the Rab. I don't know. Anyway, let's go on with this. He said the Bria. He said V'kan ose b'yisod the Bria kamosha kazel holon. So we're going to see, like I said, take it. We're going to get to this right away. The equal rukia, the equal le'el mechavovim, the el mechavovim. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? The equal le'el mechivon. I don't know what that means. It sounds like the word chai, so I can't really quite pace it. Or maybe that's a noun, and I just don't recognize it. So he said that the wheels, the concept of wheels or cycles, circles, is in Olam Asiyah. So he was the Bachivovim. So let's see, the Chayos, the concept of Chayos, that is creatures that pull the Merkava, that's angels, really the world of angels, is in Yetzirah. The Seraphim and then the firing angels are in Bria. The Kavan, the Irinan Odus of Rikia. So since we start talking about a Rikia now, right? We said we talk about the Rikia. Shemimal L'chayos. Okay, that's Mechivavon. That's the word Mechivavon in the Aramaicized it, and it means the Chayos. So he says it's up above the Chayos. He said, Hare Shazua Bria, the Bria, Shalche HaChayos, this is the place of the dwelling place of the Chayos, B'Yitzira. So he said, well, let me say it again. Hare Shazu Bria, Shalche HaChayos. No. Shalchin. This is what let me reading it wrong, but Kavan to Iron Odus of Rekia Shemima'al L'chayos. So we're talking about the Rekia that is up above the Chayos. Hashazu Bria, that is Bria. Shechen the Chayos be Yitzira, right? They're up above the Chayos, so they're in Bria. So their Bria is above Yitzira. V'zeh Rekia Shemima'al L'chayos. So that's the meaning of the Rekia. Where is it located? It's up above the Chayos. It's referring to Bria. So bring it as a raya that we're talking about Bria. Behind the Bria. As on Nevuah Hazu, so this particular Nevuah that we're talking about, this is the Yecheskel said this, my Yitzira Shebemenoch Hishkif L'chazos B'Spheres the Bria. So here that Yecheskel was able to rise to the level of the Chayos. They saw the chariots, the Merkavos, and they saw all different kinds of things and colors and just beyond imagination. Why? Because from that position he was able to look at Bria. We'll go along, we'll get to that. And I think we stop right at this point. This is Baruch Fleischman. I am at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel and signing off for tonight. This is Baruch Fleischman once again. Bye, everybody.